year was 1905. The All Blacks Originals were in the country of Wales playing on their overseas tour, and the All Blacks came out and performed the haka. So legend goes. A stunned but not discouraged Welsh team responded by singing their national anthem, and the crowd joined in. Details of that game are lost to history in a lot of ways, but many people claim that was the first time a national anthem has ever been sung, and it was right there on a rugby pitch. A stunning rendition of both the Canadian national anthems and the American national anthems just now as we get set for this U16 match between BC U16 Selects and the Eagle Impact Rugby Academy. I'm Brendan Monroe, joined in the broadcast booth by Andy Blackburn. Andy, thanks for joining us today.
Wonderful intro there, Brendan. I've just got goose pimples at the thought of that.
We have wonderful conditions here at Klahanie Park in West Vancouver, British Columbia. If you're a rugby fan, Vancouver is a great place to come watch some rugby. You're going to have an opportunity to watch this game live, and if you need more afterwards, of course, the Canada Sevens being held right here in British Columbia in Vancouver in March. So it's quickly becoming a hub for rugby in North America, a great rugby destination, and the entertainment on offer is certainly going to be excellent from these two under 16 age grade sides. And we will get through the starting lineups in just a moment. Starting for BC, they're wearing the white kit with red numbers. Wearing number 1 is Davis Bonsil-Jevning, 2 is Henry Davitt, 3 Vaughn Richardson, 4 is Reed Davis, 5 is Jim Newman, 6 Teague Andreu, 7 Harrison Hook, 8 is Harry Girdler, the scrum half is Killick Saxer, your fly half is Jack Scher, Corbin Bowen and Zach Bain are on the wings, your centers are Connor Sinclair and Jake Scott, and Chris Small is the fullback once again in this game. Pretty similar lineup for the Eagle Impact Rugby Academy from the one that we saw on Wednesday. Front row of Doug Mitchell, Nick Zimmer, and David Ainu. Second row of Alexander Rayton and Josh Snell. Your back row is Stephen Rode, Jake Erickson, and Bailey Wilson. Scrum half, Connor McManus. Fly half today was in the centers, wearing number 10, Quinn Perry. The wings are Christian Newby and Ben Brissell. Centers Jack Wendling, Sean Lumkong, and Drake Goranson is your fullback, and we are underway.
Good takeoff, the kickoff there by Big Jim Newman. Expecting to see lots of carries again from him today.
Jim Newman was in that number 8-man position last time on Wednesday, and now he is going to be starting in the engine room wearing the number 5 in that second row for BC.
Good to see Harry Mason out here today. Cracking ref. First had the pleasure of experiencing him referee about 2 years ago when he was just arriving from Singapore. He took over a BC U17 training camp that we were doing at the time, and it was just great to have a referee of his caliber. So I'm excited to see him out in the middle today there, Brendan.
He was also out in the middle last weekend for the Pan Am Games during the contest there where Canada took the gold medal against Argentina in the final. He wasn't the man in the middle, obviously, for that one, but he was there throughout the tournament, as were a few other BC referees as well. So some top quality refereeing on the pitch for this game this afternoon.
Line out throw off there by Henry Davitt, and the ball moved wide. Forwards in the middle channel again, looking to test our midfield. Good numbers of the breakdown there by the Americans. Now they're going to test a little chip take over the top. And Chris Moll, who's playing in the fullback position today, will retrieve, look to kick, and unfortunately shanks it to the left. And a counter-attack opportunity here by the American Eagles. Nice direct running there. Stays on his feet, gives a target, and the forwards are there in numbers. I'm expecting quick ball. And there's a familiar prop forward there, taking the ball to the line. Similar shape, inside ball to the other prop. There's the intent today. Use a big couple of bookends, get 10 yards every play, and play off a quick football. And it's an advantage here. It's a free one. Let's see what the Americans could do. Doug Mitchell again with a great offload. Great to see 2 prop forwards, 230 pounds plus, with ball skills like that. Unlucky there, go back to the original offence, which will be a penalty. And I'm sure Sean Nolan, is it Sean at 10 today? No, it's Quinn Perry, but Sean may be the guy taking the conversion.
Sean Nolan, I believe, starting on the reserve squad today. He was very accurate with the boot, and I think the American squad, the Eagle Impact Rugby Academy, saw what they can get from Mr. Nolan and are trying a few different other options. So Quinn Perry moves into that fly half position today.
Interesting to see, Brendan, that Sean is actually from Waterford Island. I know the 25 players that are here with the Eagle Impact Rugby Academy come from 11 different states and 8 academies, and I just saw that they've obviously got one guy who's living overseas with some American heritage. It'd be good to get a little bit more information on that. Let's see what Quinn's like with the boots. He had a very big game at outside centre, I thought, for the first half until he left the field early into the second half on Wednesday night, Brendan.
Yes, I'm interesting to see how the change in kickers goes for the Eagle Impact Rugby Academy as they were clinical with the boot in Wednesday's game.
Oh, it's an unorthodox style, and he's pushed it right. I think the way those two props play there, Brendan, I could have given them kicking duties. I'm sure they would have slotted it over.
They would have been keen to have their chance with the ball, I'm sure. We've seen a few front rowers from time to time take kicking duties. I know right here at Capilano RFC.
Great drop out there by Jack Scher. Look at the hang time on that. Oh, good offload by Ben Brissell. And again, another offload. Playing to the conditions there. Forcing the pass, but the skills are spot on. Numbers right. Running in 3s and 4s again. There goes David Anu. What a player. Now they've got some width, and they come again. Doug Mitchell, it's a familiar pattern here. 1 and 3 off the rucks. And a good turnover there by BC. Really need to get their hands on the ball and clear the lines and relieve some of the early pressure.
Advantage being played momentarily for the knock-on, and now they will get the scrum. I started there just saying that the home field here, Clahany Park, is the home of Capilano RFC on their women's team. Hillary Leith, the front rower, both for Capilano and for Canada, does a lot of the kicking duties for her club from the tight head prop position. So it's not common, but there's certainly clubs that do employ front row players with a lot of leg strength to make those kicks.
You see the size of the legs on David Anu there and Doug Mitchell. It wouldn't surprise me if they could land a few from the halfway.
Their size tested in that front row right now, and a big push as the scrum starts to wheel a little bit early, and BC are able to kick it clear with a very hot charge down attempt coming from Eagle Impact Rugby Academy.
Well set up for the counter-attack. Should have looked to his left possibly, but keeps the ball alive. Knock-on advantage again. There's a 3-on-2. Still has chance, and he floats it over the top, and I think he'll probably reset here. Stay in field. No, unfortunately should have just probably stayed down, and knowing full well that there was an advantage there, so of no great consequence there, Brendan. It's all Eagle Impact Rugby Academy right now, and again, you've got to admit that the tone has been set by their prop forwards. The old adage that games are won and lost by the forwards and the backs decide by how much is evident to see by the way the Eagle Impact Rugby Academy play this game.
I think it's very telling that the ball carrier just now, Ben Brissell, that was the first time I remember seeing one of the wingers get the ball in the first 6-7 minutes of action here. It's all been right through that front row and through the loose forwards with the carry.
Simple game again. Let's suck in the defence. Couple of big ball carriers. Quick ball, move it wide. There's going to be some numbers out wide, and you can then play what's ahead of you and exploit the holes. And that's what the the American Eagle Academy have done well Wednesday, and they look like continuing to do the same. Good angle there by 13. Chip kick. Maybe the winger was a little bit too narrow there. Didn't read that too well. Probably wasn't a set play.
Zach Bain getting under that one with the support of Chris Small as they are able to turn over the ball deep inside their own 22 under some pressure, and they will need to just build some structure here and try to get it back into the pocket and kick it clear.
Von Richardson did well there. He was a bit flat-footed when he received that ball, but he managed to take it to the line, land on the ball and recycle. I would like to see the forwards, Brendan, hitting the ball with the same intensity and running lines that the two American props are doing. If there's anything we could learn from Wednesday is how to hit onto the ball, what lines to take, and obviously keep your legs moving and give yourselves a target for the next phase.
BC on Wednesday night, I think, was still trying to identify who was going to be their ball carrier. They tried to go to Jim Newman early and often. Eagle Impact keyed in on him and was causing some turnovers with contact to his upper body and to the ball. And after that, they didn't have too many options left. So BC will need to identify who's going to be their danger man in this game.
Good fend from the 6th there. Again, forwards, option runners out wide. Quick numbers to the breakdown, an opportunity right. Cuts back inside. Again, quick ball. Wendling to his outside centre. Steps the first guy, gets the ball free. Really playing well down the edges, the Eagle Impact Academy. And again, here come the big rolling forwards in 3s and 4s. Always short of recycling. Pick and go, close to the line. Yes, looks like he may be in on the corner there. It's a simple game, Brendan. Simple game. Retain possession, move forward. Numbers there. When the opportunities come, you take them. And this is a very clinical U16 team.
It looked like the try was on for sure once they got inside that 10-meter distance and just kept pressing, kept pounding. And BC has been making their tackles, but they have not been causing any turnovers, and they haven't been repelling anything. It's just 1 meter lost after another meter lost inside that 22, and it's getting finished by the Americans now with that try.
It's great game management. They know where they want to play the game. They know what parts of the field the ball's going to. If you see, they do like to attack down the outside channels there where they can pull players in and maybe target a smaller back or a winger or an outside centre, and then they'll create a mismatch with a prop like David Anu or Doug Mitchell. And as we found out on Wednesday when Chris Small had to tackle the likes of David Anu, the good big guy is always going to go over the big little guy. So they seem to be missing a kicker today, Brendan.
Yeah, that's a big difference. As I said a couple minutes ago, it was clinical on Wednesday when these teams met for the first time, and 0 for 2 on kicks and conversions inclusive. So a bit of a struggle on that front for the American squad, but I would expect that based on the front foot offense that we've seen from them so far, some of those points may be academic if they can continue to press like this throughout the game.
You know, you can't afford simple mistakes like that. Jack Scherr is known for his kicking. He's a great kicker, got pinpoint accuracy, and that's why he's been brought into the team. Offers a little bit of different strategy to Wednesday with the quick defensive line speed that the American midfield was showing. I'd like to see him strategically pinning them back, stopping their line speed from coming up so quick with a few little chips over, and Jack's got to be on the money. So hopefully that's just one uncharacteristic error, and his nerves will be calmed down, and we can see a good tactical game from Jack today.
Jack was struggling with a little bit of a lower body injury earlier in the week, I think, to his ankle, and so that might impact his kicking game just a little bit until he feels he's confident, and otherwise I'm sure he's physically ready, but emotionally when you're coming back from an ankle injury like that, you're never quite sure until you put ball to boot a couple of times.
Again, look at the pace that the Eagles forwards are hitting onto the ball here. Here comes Doug Mitchell again. That must be his 3rd or 4th carry and another offload. Nice little tip-on pass and a beautiful unders Oh, should have hung on and drawn the fullback. Gave it too early there, but wonderful line running. Soft little tip-on passes just as you've fixed the defender. And so just some great all-round rugby skills on display. Good to see forwards passing and carrying like backs. Backs hitting rucks like forwards. It really is, the game's developed, Brendan, in the last 10 to 15 years where other than set-piece scrums and line-outs, everybody's got to be able to do the job of everybody else, and it doesn't really matter where you stand on the field anymore.
Suddenly when you find yourself out in that space as a forward, as a back, it doesn't matter. You have to give your team those options with width and depth, and you have to be able to use the ball when it finally comes to you, and the Americans doing a good job of that so far.
Yep. Lucky there, a little bit lateral there, maybe not the right option, but perhaps BC knew that the penalty was coming. Jake Erickson out of California, the open side flanker, he's ran some really good support lines and looks a threat there running off his 2 bookend prop forwards. So probably part of the strategy, let the big guys carry the ball, offload game, soft top tip on passes before the tackle, and have some good ball runners or some good support carriers working in tandem.
Beauty touch finder kick from BC gets the ball out to halfway, and they'll get their first chance to maybe set something up. They haven't had a lot of possession at this point in the game. They just want to get their ball on hand, try some plays, get their halfback combination working together.
Line-out's got to function first, though, and it looks like it's a knock-on. So set pieces have got to be functioning before we can even think about our shape out wide. And shame to see two guys like Ty Andreo, the big number 6 from South Surrey, and Jim Newman out in the back line. I was really excited something good was going to happen, and we just got to win our set piece ball first. Quinn Perry a little bit lateral there. The fullback comes into the line, passing not quite on the money, and the BC defense is up quick. Now there's an option out wide with Jake Scott. Puts on the burners, keeps the ball alive. Chris Small now looks to go wide. Possibly should have given it a little bit earlier. Possibly a short side option here with numbers, but the Americans have read it well. Good low body position there in the counter ruck, and there could be a turnover. Yeah, the ball comes free. Need numbers there again. Penalty advantage, Sure deep in the pocket, looks for the crossfield kick. Not a bad option really when you've been given a free one like that, Brendan. Jack's a smart player, yeah, he knew that was coming, and it was a 50-50 opportunity, and well worth the try, knowing that it's coming back, and I'm expecting Jack to take the points. If I was the BC coach after Wednesday, my team talk today would be, let's first of all get on the board. Let's get rid of that nil. Get on the board. Secondly, let's hang in with them. Let's stay close as we can until halftime. You know, anything within 5 points would be great. And then if you put pressure on these guys in the second half, good things can happen. It's got to be a little bit of a 3-point approach. But first of all, keep the scoreboard ticking. And with Jack Scher's boot, I'd be very surprised if there weren't 3 or 4 penalty opportunities that he struck over.
There was a full 60 minutes that we went on Wednesday without seeing a single BC score. I think that probably speaks or impacts their confidence throughout the game that they're not getting anything on the board for their efforts. So an early penalty opportunity would certainly buoy their chances in this game. A well-struck ball and the flags go up.
Would expect nothing less, Brendan. I had the pleasure of coaching against Jack a few weeks ago as the warm-up for the PRCs, and the Van South team was playing Van West, and he kicked a final conversion from the sideline off the wrong side, and won the game 28-26. He converted all his kicks that day, and he's able to play under the kind of pressure of a game like this. So I would see a few more of those opportunities hopefully struck over for the BC team. Deep down the middle, Chris Small. Jack Scher calls it off. Hesitates a little bit and probably doesn't get the kick away as early with a distance that he would like and we would expect. Bit of miscommunication there possibly, Brendan, between Jack Scher, the 10, and Chris Small, the 15.
Yeah, we haven't had a lot of those combinations linking up, whether it's the 9 to the 10 or the 10 to the centers or the fullback. They haven't had a whole lot of ball, as I mentioned earlier, and we'll see some small mistakes like that. It's a feeling out process. Again, this is a selection game. BC trying to pick their best 20-some players for inclusion in their Western Championships against the Prairies. Big
hole there in the middle there between Jim Newman and Jack Scher. If I was the US there, I'd be looking to exploit that channel. No, you're right, Brendan. Unfortunately, part of a camp like this is you're only now beginning to put your combinations together, and we probably won't have the opportunity since Wednesday to work on these. And there was a game yesterday against St. Peter's York School from the UK, so a lot of the focus was on that game. And I think you'll find after the camp is done, there'll be a 3-day Prairies game camp where they'll be able to work those combinations, and hopefully we'll see a slightly better functioning BC team. But nonetheless, this is opposition that you been dreaming of for years, and to get 2 high-quality games like this has got to be the perfect preparation for any game against the Prairies.
You may not have been able to see it at home in the shadows on the far side of the field, but a small mistake made from Eagle Impact Academy is that penalty was kicked dead, and so we get a dropout restart here, which is
too much time there, allowing them to move the ball away 2 passes. Here we go again, running in 2s and 3s. Little tip-on pass from David Anu there to his second-row partner, Josh Snell. Ball lost. Now's a chance to move it wide. Draw the man, fix it, 2 hands, and give it away now on foot. Okay. Chris Moore, we need to probably move that ball away. Killick Lux decides to go back to Henry DeVitt. Stood a little bit deep. Manages to get to the gain line, but driven back by the US Eagle forwards. Takes the ball to the line. Jack Sher makes a half break. Loose ball there, and referee Henry Mason's coming back from an infringement offside at the ruck, at the back foot there. But good to see a bit of front foot ball there from the fly half, taking the line on.
Harry Girdler before that was able to just keep the ball himself, and big difference is he was able to get that support running on behind him. He was far ahead of the play, but he wasn't totally isolated. He was able to get some extra players in there to support, to build that ruck, and they were able to recycle the ball through. So that's a good sign from BC, and the result of that is they've earned another penalty, and they have an opportunity to, in fact, get in the lead for the first time in this game.
And psychologically, that's huge. It started from that play before that you mentioned, Brendan. Knowing that you've got a winger there in support, even though you couldn't get hands free to get him the ball early, you knew you could take the ball to ground, you knew you could recycle, and there'd be an opportunity out wide. So let's see if Jack can convert this 45-yard penalty. He's got the legs, pushes it left.
Impressive as far as the distance goes. Hard to make the accuracy spot on from there, but I'd be very wary of the fly half if I was Eagle Impact Rugby Academy. Wouldn't want to give him too many shots like that, as that is certainly within his range.
Dropout goes to the halfway. Jack Sher takes, delivers to Chris Small. Chris Small looks, decides to have a go. Stays on his feet long enough for support to arrive. Now we need forward runners picking and going there, getting us going forward. Here we go, Ty Andreu on support. Another penalty option here. Let's see what Jack Sher does. He will have seen that. Possibly a crossfield kick. Oh, a little bit lateral. Probably come back for the penalty, and Jack will have another go for the 3 points. And not a bad strategy. There's going to be lots of penalties today. I think the US U16 Impact Academy a little bit overzealous at the breakdown, and it appears that Henry Mason's going to continue to penalise them if they do so. On Wednesday, I thought that they were not contesting and they were fanning out, getting their defensive lines set early. They just seem to be a little bit more aggressive at the breakdown today, and as a result, offering up a few penalties to the BC team.
BC given that penalty at about the same kind of distance away from the posts as we saw 2 minutes ago, but instead they decide to kick to touch this time. It wasn't the best touch-finding kick. They start this one from just outside the 22.
Again, the line-out's an area of concern for BC, but now all ends well because Jack's now got a chance 20, 25 yards out, and I'm sure he'll take the 3 points this time. A little bit surprised there, Brendan, that he didn't back himself for that kick. What's thinking behind that? Just get a little bit of ball deep in the territory and exert some pressure?
I think that's the idea now that they had that first score on the board, maybe trying to go for 5 points instead of just continuing on with the 3. It was a pretty long kick, and he did miss, so maybe a change of tactics that the way to score is going to be from trying to get their first try on the board, and the timing maybe did seem good for it, but from just beyond 25 meters here, this is a very makeable kick for Jack Sher.
Harry Mason having a chat with, I'm assuming, the US Impact Academy, the Eagles Impact Academy captain there. Consistent infringements at the breakdown, offside, the back foot, and maybe he's put the team on a warning, and like Mike Jones did on Wednesday night, the next penalty could result in a yellow card to the Impact Academy team.
Referees maybe slightly different styles. It worked well for the Eagle Impact on Wednesday, being very aggressive, but they're being forced to tone it down just a little bit in this one. Jack Sher lines up this kick left foot strike looks very true.
And that's got to be
sails
encouraging
right
for the BC team to go ahead on the scoreboard for the first time in probably now 80 minutes of rugby against the US Eagles Impact Academy team.
Big roar from the crowd here. Another fantastic support being shown for these players. We have a couple hundred people here at Klahanie Park to take in this game. And of course, we thank you for joining us for this coverage from all over North America, indeed around the world, here on bcrugby.com. BC U16 now leading 6-5 over Eagle Impact Rugby Academy.
Big Newman needs to take this ball. Oh, just took his eye off the ball in the last second. Should have turned his body. Just some basic skills there just went missing at the last moment. And Jim's annoyed with himself because I know Jim's a way better footballer than that.
We've played about 25 minutes of this first half. We're playing 35-minute halves today as opposed to the 30-minute half section that we had on the Wednesday night game. So those extra 10 minutes could make a difference, and we'll certainly test the fitness of these players.
Would expect some strong running here in the midfield backs. Takes a flap. Oh, good option run on the inside there. Pull the defender off the number 8. Allowed him to make another couple of yards, and here comes the number 6. Round the fullback, keeps his legs moving, rolls once. And attacking the short side again with a good unders line. Knocked on just over the line there. Very simple game plan here, but effective, Brendan. Hitting big forwards, coming back against the grain, receiving flat passes late at the line. Very difficult to adjust defensively when you've got a big body who starts square and at the last second will step before he receives a flat pass, and you can't tackle him before he catches the ball. So you've just got to try and mirror his footwork, and some very good coaching of basic line running skills by the US Eagles, by the Impact Rugby Academy coaching staff.
Andy, great analysis. So many options available to them, and they're so dangerous when they can move between 2 or 3 different tactics with ball.
Good pressure there, and not offside there from the charge down. Corbin Bowen makes some good yards. Jack Sherb must be looking to clear his lines here, and another penalty. Now, this could be interesting, although it's not in the danger zone. Harry did chat to the Eagles a few minutes ago and decides not to go any further with that particular call there, Brendan. What's your feeling right now with the number of penalties that have been given away?
I think that it worked really well for the Eagle Impact Rugby Academy, and they're responding to what worked for them on Wednesday. Just a slight tweak in the strictness from our referee and what he's enforcing and what he's asking of the players. And where that might have been okay with the last referee, it's just on the wrong side of infringing here in this game. It's a very fine line, but I think that they might be a little too aggressive because it worked. They got away with it maybe a little bit in the last game, but now they're being forced to dial it down.
There's a little chip kick I was expecting from Jack Sherb. Bit too deep, allows Brissell to recover, step, keep the ball alive again. His back row ever in support, staying on his feet long enough until support arrives. And now they're set up with good attacking shape with a 7 taking the ball around the corner, keeping it alive. Offload game, wonderful to see. Possible turnover here. The back row is really coming into their own now. Go look inside, he backs himself. Chris Smallhead really does well disrupting the ruck. Thought he'd forced a knock on, but it looks like it's an advantage to the American Eagles team now. But this back row now is taken over from where the 2 prop forwards started in the first 15 minutes. 6, 7 and 8, running great angles, good combinations, playing out wide. We really need to see the BC U16 back 5 and the front forwards offering the same kind of options off our rucks. And that's the big difference right now, is the attacking shape of each and every ruck. The US know what they're going to do. They have options, and they make good decisions. They play what's ahead of them, but they set up early. Their attacking shape is flat with the forwards. They've got options out back with the backs. Difficult to defend, and when you've got ball carriers like David Anu, Doug Mitchell, and this back row of Stephen Rowe, Jack Erickson, and Bailey Wilson, who can run, pass, and make good decisions. It's going to be a long day in the office for the BC team.
That was a brilliant run just a moment ago from Bailey Wilson, the number
8 goes again, backs himself for the corner. We can't see. Hands are up by the supporters, and the try's awarded. Nothing less than the 8th man Bailey Wilson deserved. He started that move a minute ago with a great run down the right side, and he's ended it with a pick and go. You've got to ask yourself, where was the blindside flanker and the left wing there, not reading the pick and go from the back of the scrum there, 10 yards out?
That seems like the obvious play so often inside that 5 meter to have the 8-man pick it off the back of the scrum. Maybe the break just wasn't called from the BC scrum quite quickly enough as they were slow to respond to that ball being picked off the base there.
It's just reaction time, and you've got to already be thinking it's an option as the scrum sets, and even if your bind's a little bit loose and you're cheating a little bit, you've got to be ready for that. And unfortunately, I believe that was a bit of a soft try after going ahead 6-5. That'll be deflating for the BC boys. I see some hands on heads. Hopefully they can just come back and exert some pressure and get some points back on the board. Luckily, they're off with a kicking today, Brendan, so that makes it 10-6, so very reachable still with a couple of penalties or a try.
I think I made the mistake of saying some of those extra points could be academic, given the flurry of activity from the Eagle Impact Academy at the beginning of the game, but it suddenly is having a very magnifying effect on the scoreline right now, as had those kicks been accurate, this would not be nearly as close of a scoreline as it is, but BC still within reach of it by a single try at this point in time, despite having given up a couple of big scores.
Brendan, if I was the Eagle Impact Academy coach, I'd be looking to bring Sean Nolan off the bench at half-time. This game may be a bit tighter than what they'd expected, and the boot of Sean Nolan could make a difference. Chris Moore picks up a bouncing ball. Good tracking by Ben Brissell, showing some good pace to track him down. Loose ball, unfortunately, from what could have been a great counter-attacking opportunity. Holding on at the ruck has delivered a penalty in front of the sticks. Now, this is interesting to see what the options are going to be here, Brendan.
Yeah, as the kicking game is suddenly becoming a sore point for the Eagle Impact Rugby Academy. But they are going to test the boot once again. This one from straight away, no angle to contend with. The distance on this one, about 30 meters. So certainly within the kickable range for these U16 players. Well, and I think we're going to get a new kicker coming on as well.
Justin Peterson from California here, the number 22. I thought David Anu may have stepped up by now, but I think they're going to have a couple more tries first. But I saw some of the American team there pointing to the corner, some are pointing to the posts. There was a little bit of confusion in the camp, and let's see how Justin Peterson gets on 30 yards out in front of the sticks.
It's certainly a call for BC to be more aggressive in all of their breakdown work if the kicking is not working for Eagle Impact.
Unorthodox strike, but effective. Takes the score out to 13-6. Disappointing 2 or 3 minutes there for the BC U16 team. Having clawed their way into the lead, could have done with sustaining some pressure and possibly capitalizing, and a soft try in the right corner followed by a penalty given away from what could have been a good counter-attacking opportunity has given 8 points to the Impact Academy team.
Some important points on the board for Eagle Impact. As we start to approach halftime, I have 30 minutes played by my watch. There's a 35-minute half on the schedule for this game as the ball bounces off of Jim Newman's head and into touch.
Don't know if the sun was a factor there, but not a lot of confidence taking that high ball. Difficult to see under the stand here where the sun is positioned in the sky, but I'm sure with Jack's boot today, if the sun is in the fullback size, I'm expecting a few up and unders from Jack Sure.
Not a cloud in the sky today. The sun definitely going to be a factor as it is hanging out on the same side of the field as that throw on the lineout just came from.
It's not a bad option there, missing the fly half and giving it to David Anu. You know there's only one way he's going, and that's straight ahead. Again, his partner, Doug Mitchell, hungry for work. Bit high there, maybe a chance of a choke tackle. I would hold him up here, try and win the scrum. Good, Manages to get to ground. Good body strength there. Good show and go. Great right foot step. Now he needs support. Looks behind the man. Stays alive. Runners coming in numbers, and that's a good clean out there. Jim Newman put his body on the line in a 50-50 ball, and as a result, BC come up with it. Hands in the ruck there, and pick and go on the short side. Needs a few extra support players there, and stole them before he hit the deck.
Advantage was being played, so the penalty will go to BC. Check that there's a knock-on advantage, and so we'll get a scrum down on the BC side of halfway. As you said, Jim Newman sacrificing the body to make sure his team got hands on the ball. And it's going to take those kind of sacrifices in this very physical game between these two teams.
Well, you know who's going to be running at you all day, and it's basically 5 or 6 strike forwards on the Eagles Impact forward pack. And, you've got to start, A, doing the same, or B, putting your body in the way of theirs and try and dissuade them from keep coming at you. So right now they're making positive yards, and we need to start putting them back a couple of yards. And Jack there goes with the up and under. It's got a probably... good play by the fullback. Takes and backs his winger, Ben Brissell, puts on a bit of a skip, backs himself on the outside, steps back inside, looks for support, goes to ground. Got a release here. No, it's a good steal by Jim Newman again, and a great kick by Kellick Saxon. Nobody home. Chase maybe know what it should be. Time for the Impact to regather, and now...
Very fractured in defense for BC as they're trying to organize quickly, and a bit of a relief as that clearance kick goes right to the fullback.
Chris Moore kicks back, and there's the Doug Mitchell getting ahead of steam, and Chris does well to hang on to him.
Big size mismatch. Very well done by Chris Small playing fullback.
Needed to do that to make amends for a poor kick.
Bit of a high tackle there coming.
Good line coming here from 7. Love it. Step, fend, offload, nobody there. Buy some time. Brendan, you could see the line he was running from 10 yards away again. Straight steps to unders at the very last yard, and he was through the hole. Good line again from the outside centre. Sean Lumkong. And David Anu lining up here for a big ball carry. Unfortunately, it's behind him. He loses some momentum, gets his hand free. BC putting more pressure. Way more aggressive on the loose ball there now. Good to see from the BC boys. But the Americans managed to recycle. There's numbers out wide. It's a 3-on-2 he's got to give. And that's a good try in the corner there.
Clinical finish from Drake Goranson as he was able to collect that pass on the end of a couple of well-connected exchanges from Eagle Impact Rugby Academy. They've got some traveling fans here that are hooting their pleasure with that try. Of course, we got players from Washington State, so a good support section from people in upstate Washington. But of course, Mr. Goranson from all the way across Indiana. So geographically diverse team of Eagle Impact Rugby Academy players, and their fans cheering back at home, liking what they're seeing so far as they notch their 3rd try of the first half.
To your point there, Brendan, geographically spread out, but you've got to wonder, and I asked the question after Wednesday, how could a team come from 8 different academies, have 4 practices, and gel together as seamlessly as they did on Wednesday and again today? And I asked a question today of the manager, Darryl Nolan from Indiana. I said, do you guys have like a common philosophy that you share, a vision that you share between all your academies, so you're all playing to the same shape structure, so you can actually bring 25 different players from 8 academies together and they can just fit seamlessly into your structure, into your game plan? I said, that's exactly what we do. And that was clear to see Wednesday. So even though there David Anu took a ball a little bit behind, he wasn't quite the front foot ball he wanted to take, they were able to recycle, put a great shape on the right side and still create a 3-on-2 opportunity because they're well drilled in their academies, and a few practices together as they've only had here goes to show what a team that's all playing to the same game plan, all singing to the same hymn sheet, what they can achieve.
You talk about strategy, you talk about philosophy. Both coaches will now discuss their tactics and strategy with the clubs. It's halftime. The halftime score, Eagle Impact Rugby Academy 18, BC under 16, 6 on the board. and we will break for halftime. Before we go, we'd like to say thank you to North Star Rugby for providing match day support for the BC U16 team. And Andy Blackburn and myself will be back in just a couple moments for the second half of the game. Welcome back for the second half of this under-16 men's game between Eagle Impact Rugby Academy and BC U16. BC wearing white, kicking off the second half. Eagle Impact wearing red. I'm Brendan Monroe from BC Rugby, joined by Andy Blackburn. Andy, we saw a lot of offense coming from Eagle Impact Rugby Academy. We haven't seen the work rate from BC through the forwards that we would like to see. That'll be the key for the second half. This is what can be done in that forward pack for BC.
Absolutely. First of all, we've got to carry on defending and forcing some penalties at the breakdown. And that's not the kind of penalty we're looking to force there. High tackle, I'm guessing, yes. Harry Mason there signalling high tackle. But if we can keep our defensive shape, put some pressure, win some penalties, get some front football, our set pieces need to be a lot better, especially the line out. And then just have some forwards as options out wide, not telegraph ball to the backs, because the very well set, structured Eagle Impact Academy defensive line can defend way too easily currently against our non-threatening backline. So I'm hoping to see a lot more option runners there running off 9 and 10, primarily 9, sucking in their big defenders.
I think we're seeing some substitutions coming on for BC at the halftime break. I noticed Diego Zuniga was out there on the wing wearing the number 15 kit. So a couple of number 15s.
Good line again by number 7. Out to him, gets his hands free. Jack Wendling puts a step on like he did on Wednesday night. Not the start that BC wanted, but you've got to admire the open side flanker, Jake Erickson from the California Academy, who hits onto the ball with such pace and has great footwork late in the line to beat the first defender. Doesn't look to die with the ball. Steps in, steps out, looks for support, gets his hands free, and delivers a pass that you would expect an inside or an outside centre to deliver.
His stepping almost doesn't matter when you have a line like that to work from.
Well, not to be the first man. That's a great step. But when you break that line, a lot of guys just pin their ears back and they go. And what he does is he keeps his feet moving. He steps left, he steps right. He wrong foots the defenders. He buys some time, a little bit of tempo, and that allows his support runners to catch up. And then he looks late, and he knows he's got to play a right or left. And it's a very unselfish play. It's a 2-on-1. And having said that, Jack Wendling from the Chuckanut Rugby Club there still needed to score that. And just the way he scored a wonderful try after a step on the same fullback, Chris Small, on Wednesday, he's done the same again. Chris must just hate the sight of Jack Wendling.
Chris has certainly had his hands full at that fullback position, chasing after those kicks and usually being the last man caught out on some of those runs we've seen. And not necessarily from wingers. It's not like he's chasing wingers down. He's chasing loose forwards. He's chasing props down in the open field. So a lot of defensive work from Chris Small. A big task for him. He's doing what he can, but he's certainly been outnumbered and outgunned.
Absolutely. When you stood flat-footed there and you got a guy coming up pace, it's very difficult when he puts a step on you like that to be able to react. You've got to keep your feet moving. You've got to close his space, take his space away, put him in some doubt, and hopefully, get your shoulder into him early. But you can't just stand and let him put a move on you. You're never going to be able to make a last-ditch tackle in those kind of scenarios.
Another reserve coming on for BC. Felix Butterfield, wearing number 13, is on the field right now. And I'm sure there was one or two other substitutions made as we're just trying to track down who may have come on over the halftime break.
I think Connor Sinclair may have left the field there, playing inside centre. He's carrying a shoulder injury. Connor's a great athlete. I had the pleasure of coaching him for Vancouver South at the PRCs. He lives in Cranbrook, which is right on the Alberta-BC border, and he's been part of the BC 7 circuit. But unlike a lot of our players, come into this camp with some niggling injuries, and it's an AC joint that I know he's had for a couple of years, and experimenting today at inside centre is typically an open side flanker, but I fear that he may have left the field. But Felix Butterfield, a very able replacement, will get an opportunity to show his worth. Nice strike by Jack Scher. Unfortunately, just looks like he sent it right at the posts. Would be nice to keep the scoreboard ticking over here, Brendan, just to keep us in touch.
Even if it's tries for one team and kicks for the other, at least you get some forward momentum from that scoreboard going forward.
Justin Peterson from California here with the restart. Looking for a high kick. Not taken cleanly and pounced upon by the left winger, the Eagles left winger, Ben Brissell, showing his pace. Hands free to Jack Wendling. Chris gets him this time. Great job, Chris Small. But speed to the breakdown, a loose ball, but it's going to be a penalty in front of the sticks for not releasing. Basic errors, Brendan. Oh, tap and go, David Anu. Step, dummy, try. What can you say about that guy?
Well, once you get the ball into his hands inside 5 meters, it's pretty much inevitable that he's going to find his way to that try line. Just such a physical player, such power, and there's really no one that lines up with that same kind of frame or that same kind of strength on the BC tackling line. So what can you do? If you can get in the ball in that kind of range, it's going to go over.
Oh, there's two ways you stop that guy. One's with a sledgehammer, the other's with a chainsaw. I mean, you're not really going to do anything from 5 yards otherwise. I mean, he's built like a tank, he's quick, he's got good footwork. He just didn't run straight there. He stepped, and, great skills, great athleticism, but more so, wonderful cohesive rugby again. Wednesday was no fluke. Today is just underlining the rugby brains, the smarts, the vision, the game awareness, and the game management by the Eagle Impact Academy team. And it's a joy to watch. Now, BC should take some heart. They've competed. I know they've given away a couple of soft tries, and the scoreline of 32-6, is it's a long shot from being able to come back. But I think if I was a coach right now, Brendan, I'd be looking to chip away at that, try and narrow the score. At least you want to come away with a narrower defeat than on Wednesday, and take some comfort out of this result today.
I think one of the most important things you can get from this is to see BC play as a team. They have a big competition coming up. They have a lot of individuals on the field right now, and this is an opportunity for them to really work together to get more familiar with each other under a difficult situation or circumstance, to see what kind of metal they're made out of. Yes, maybe the scoreline's a bit one-sided at this point in time, but the work that they do right now, the spade work that they do, will set the tone for their upcoming competitions.
This is character-building stuff. You've got to understand the BC team have dominated at provincials and nationals, and not used to being on the receiving end of a scoreline like this. A lot of these players are playing for strong regions such as Vancouver North and Fraser Valley East. They're playing for strong clubs such as Capilano and Abbotsford, and strong school programs. So, in terms of the long game, some character building will come out of this, and these players will realize that they've got a lot of work ahead of them, and there's a lot of room for improvement, both individually and collectively. Great tackle. Not sure who that was, Brendan, but number 7, who's been looking for work all day, ran another fantastic line, but somebody put the shoulder right into the breadbasket, and the ball went flying.
Yeah, that was the first time in quite some time that we've seen the ball jarred loose on just a bone-crunching tackle there from one of the BC defenders. It's good to see. They haven't been as physical in the loose forwards or in that forward pack as we would have expected from them, and we're seeing individual moments like that where they're stepping up, and hopefully there's more to come in the next 25 minutes.
Small victories, Brendan, right now. Small victories. You've got to take out of this what you can, and individually and collectively you've got to be looking at building, and we know number 7's a strike runner, and somebody put his body on the line there, and a bit lateral here. Chris Small gets a ball in a bit of space. Early ball to Corbin Bowen. Corbin's got some wheels, but unfortunately you've got to be taking the ball a little bit quicker, straighter at the line, more precise passing. It was just always looking there's going to be one outcome, and that was either into touch or a tackle close to the line. So nice to see the ball movement, but just want to see a little bit more direct running there, Brendan.
One of the dangers, I think, with Bowen is he has a degree of speed and skill at his club level that he usually just outpaces everybody. So he's probably not quite used to needing to offload the ball or look for support. He's just happy to take it himself, and he's gone turning the corner. We saw that in the 7s game especially, and just changing his lines in the 15s game will be key as he progresses.
Oh, behind the runner there. 2-on-1. Ben Brissell gets the ball, carrying the ball in the opposite arm, backs himself against Chris Small. Is it a penalty try?
Looks to be.
Just like the opening few minutes of Wednesday night's game, and unfortunately Chris Moll was the player that went high on Wednesday and subsequently got sin-binned. It may have been Diego Zuniga, but I think I see Chris Moll down in the corner there.
I think it's probably time to give Chris Small a break, as he has been overworked.
He put his body on the line there, to be fair to him. I mean, he did put his body on the line, did try and make the tackle. Maybe he's going off before he gets yellow carded again, poor lad. But you're not gonna stop a guy from scoring a try by taking his head off in the corner. You've really got to put your body on the line and target the ball and try and dislodge the ball as you're going over the line, or at least try and drive him into touch.
Eagle Impact Rugby Academy have not taken their foot off the gas. Right from the very beginning of this game, they made a couple of mistakes with the boot in terms of kicking penalties. But since that turnaround where BC were ahead 6-5 in the first half, the switch was completely flipped, and it's been Eagle Impact since then consistently.
Well, I think we poked the bear a little bit, Brendan, and also I'm guessing the call went out from the sidelines to not be as overzealous in the contact area, stop giving away penalties. Fan out defensively, put some pressure on the BC backs, wait for your opportunities to isolate the BC ball carrier and go back to what worked so well on Wednesday night. And I've seen a definite shift from about the 25-minute mark where there's been way few penalties awarded against the Impact Academy team, and that may well have been just from a stern warning from Harry Mason, the referee, too. Sun's in their eyes. Loose ball, deemed knocked on. We'll come back for a scrum down. Good attacking platform here for the BC U16 team. Let's see what they can do. Scrum left of centre, 35 yards out. Big shout out there to Mr. Dean MacDonald, father of Carter, one of the BC U16 team, providing me with a Guinness at half time there to lubricate the vocal cords, much needed. Feeling a lot better, thank you, Dean. So change at scrum half. Liam Gray on for Calic Saxa. Delivers a nice ball. Change at fly half 2. Little chip through from Jake Scott. Bounce a little bit unkind, and the Impact Academy regather, and numbers at the breakdown quickly. Back in the pocket for the fly half, who clears his lines with a fantastic 40-50 metre touch finder. Very cool under pressure. What
BC
composure.
Taking it quickly off the line out, and there's space back there. There's not done accurately or properly according to the referees. So
Jack Scher possibly moving back into the fullback position. We've got 2 number 10s on. One of them, Johnny Hodgkins. Johnny Hodgkins is from Shawnigan Lake School. He's a Bermuda boy. I know a Canadian invitational team went over to Bermuda about a year ago, and Johnny was playing with some of the Bermuda boys. It was a fantastic 9 or 10 days, and he's subsequently gone to Shawnigan Lake School, a well-known rugby school in British Columbia, and he's getting his opportunity now. Good defense there by the number 3, Von Richardson. Another good tackle, and the BC boys putting the body on the line now. Good show and go, keeps alive. What a great offload. And who's there? Number 7 again, Jake Erickson, ever present. Good shape outright. Scott Wendling, it's a 3-on-2. Great tackle there by Diego Zuniga. But again, the confidence to go through the phases and just keep the ball alive, knowing the mismatch will occur. What football skills, should I say soccer skills, wrong country. That was a piece of brilliance there by, again, number 7, Jake Erickson, California. I think the USA soccer team may pick him up after that piece of brilliance.
They certainly have an asset on their hands with Jake Erickson, because there's right now no one that has been given the ball quite as frequently for BC as Mr. Erickson's been given the ball for Eagle Impact, and he's been dangerous with ball in hand every time he's received it. He's running very, very clever lines, and he's hitting those lines at the right time and at full speed as well.
Well, on Wednesday for me, David Anu and Doug Mitchell, who went off at half-time, were standout players. And I think today, Jake Eriksson, the way he's going, if I was to award a man of the match right now, I would say he was in pole position. And I would also guess that he's played a fair bit of soccer in his life. The way he just flicked that ball up on the outside of his right foot and then gathered it. But just the confidence that these players are exuding now. Things like that, they just tend to stick. Line out possibly overthrown, didn't go to the intended jumper, but BC have a chance now to regather. Again, ball just goes wide, and it's a pass to nobody, unfortunately, but a great pick up there by Johnny Hodgkins. Nice kick off his right foot. Let's see the chase here by Diego Zuniga. Needs to pin his man. Okay, opportunity for a jackal now, Diego. I think he may have won a penalty. No. Yes. Good play by the fullback, Diego Zuniga from Fraser Valley East there. 3-1 being offered here, but our shape, nobody's back deep. Unfortunately, Jake Scott's got to kick the ball away, and the advantage may be waved off. No, Harry Mason's been very kind to the BC U16 team there, and any other day that advantage could have been quite easily worn off. And again, there's an opportunity for a penalty. The BC U16 team not recognising that. Brendan not resetting their attacking shape. Could never take advantage. Poor Jake Scott had one option. What I would have probably done is just drop the ball forward and just gone straight for the penalty. But all came off the boot there of the replacement fry half there, Johnny Hodgkins, who made something out of nothing.
It almost seemed like they expected the Eagle Impact players to win that ball in the breakdown, which is not necessarily a good sign. And they did have it for a moment, but they were able to steal it back. So had there been no penalty, had there been no advantage, you could have said it was a good fight in the end from BC. But while they were focusing on that particular breakdown, the rest of the backs just seemed to be watching and weren't really organizing themselves to take that advantage to their own benefit.
Reaction time, Brendan. Diego Zuniga did enough. He poked his head through. He got his hands on the ball. Didn't fully commit to the jackal, but did enough to win the penalty. And again, our set piece line out. Lucky there. Numbers in the line, I think. Numbers in the line. But unfortunately, the line out's not functioning today. And maybe that's something we've got to address. A little bit of a committee meeting here about options, taking the scrum. I think the scoreline so far out now that I think the strategy of just taking points is futile. We've got to get a couple of tries on the board, take something out of this game.
I agree, and I also say based on the way the line-out has gone that taking the scrum is probably the best opportunity to get the ball back inside the 22.
Well, you're certainly tying 8 big forwards into one area, which is going to give our backs some much-needed space. So let's see what our options are. Okay, 2 flat runners through the hole. Bit of width now. Can he get on the outside? Unfortunately, the one-handed pass drops low to Paul Corbin Bowen, who then gets smashed on the right wing.
Ball still live here as the Eagles have turned it over.
And again, they're probably going to build through the phases here, showing composure, rolling forward, numbers in close support. Using the big men again just to make 2 or 3 much needed hard yards. And look, forward runners again. Options. A little chip kick, needed a bit more height. If it bounces kindly for Diego, backs himself. Well done there. He stayed alive long enough to allow his support to get close by. We've got to be running onto that ball. We can't be taking that ball running backwards. And as a result now, hacked through, unfortunately, by our own player, but Corbin Bowen retrieves, playing a bit of sevens here, not unlike Wasale Serevi. And we'll kick the ball back to the back 3, and here Ben Brissell gets a head of steam and keeps his feet moving, changes direction, looks, and now there's numbers left. If it goes through the hands, we're in trouble.
It's fractured defense from
There
BC.
you go, number 7 again. It's a 2-on-1 in the corner, steps once, steps twice, offload again, going for the left corner. Classy. Oh, did he knock it on at the final second? He did. What a let-off. But again, what great continuity, what wonderful offloading, what great lines of running, bodies in motion, multiple people who you could hit with an offload pass. Lots that you could take out of this watching this game tape for any junior, under 18, even men's team.
I think that all started with the ball being loose right in front of our broadcast position. and it was kicked forward a couple of times. But in that process, BC just scrambling. It looked like it was chaotic on defense as they tried to organize, and they never really got set up as a defensive unit.
Brendan, it goes back one further. There was a pass off a ruck on the left side to a number 10 replacement fly half there, Johnny Hodgkins, who was stood still, having a breather, didn't want the ball, should never have got the ball, and was actually going backwards when he tried to take the ball. And just that kind of decision making from the ruck. You know, we've got to give the ball to where we've got players in numbers so we have a chance of recycling. No sooner did he spill the ball, he got hacked on. They actually are retreating prop there. I don't know if it was Jeff Van der Meijde from North Van or Davis Bonsall Jevning. Looked like he was playing on the US team for a second by kicking the ball even further, but it turns out that Corbin Bowen was there to retrieve it. So that may have been a little bit of foot skills from our prop trying to counteract the US number 7 Jake Erickson. And Corbin, a little bit cheeky, bit of sevens, everything was good. Unfortunately, his kick was a bit wayward, and then it gave an opportunity for the back three to counterattack. And Ben Brissell, the strong runner that he is, he put the US Academy on the front foot, and several phases later, they were unlucky not to score in the left corner.
For those that are wondering, we're just going through a bit of a water break right now as there was an injury to one of the players who seems to be back up on his feet. So the player's getting an opportunity to get hydrated, as the conditions are not scorching by any means, but certainly sunny, very warm, beautiful summer day here at Clahany Park in West Vancouver, British Columbia. I'd like to say thank you to Capilano RFC, who have a great facility here at Clahany Park. We're able to get these kids through the dressing room, the fans in the stands. I heard this is, for some of these Eagle Impact rugby players, the first time they are changing in a rugby dressing room as opposed to just showing up at the field with their kit on and their cleats. So a great facility here that we're able to use all the time here in BC, and it's quickly becoming one of the big homes for rugby in Canada, as there's been some tremendous matches played on this field.
We take rugby culture for granted, and there is a rich culture in Canada, British Columbia, and even though the Eagles are very professional in their planning and their attitude, they may not have the facilities yet. It's a relatively new sport for the junior level for the USA, but great to be able to extend a little bit of heritage and culture and get the positive feedback from a very great bunch of enthusiastic travel and support. Only good for the future here in terms of cross-border games, and I think BC must be licking their lips with the opportunities to carry on going down south and testing and challenging the game. Obviously, we're a little bit behind the 8 ball right now, and if you were to be fair, having done a little bit of discussion and a little bit, Jake Scott squares up, tackled high possibly, turned over again by Jack Wendling. Great left hand offload. Link play by, again, the open side flanker, Jake Erickson. Going a bit lateral and backwards. Opportunity here for BSC, and unfortunately knocked on there by number 14. I think it was Zach Bain. But back to my point, I did some research, Brendan, and I found out that the Eagle Impact Academy would probably get about 40% of their players on the US Eagles national team. And when you take into consideration over the previous years, BC probably has about a 40-50% representation on Canadian teams. You would have to suggest this is a very fair matchup in terms of non-Canadian players, non-US level, but a similar contingent of players who are representing their areas. And I think it would be good to carry on going down that west coast and playing against California and Washington academies, and only improving as a result.
The other thing I think we've ignored in Canada for a long time is
he's offside here. Quinn Perry offside, being told. Good take by Diego Zuniga. First step, spin, twist, goes to ground. Counter rucking, but the ball comes loose, and I think that's Felix Butterfield, is it? Good presentation, good numbers, the breakdown again. Now we've got a prop coming at pace, and that's great to see. That's long overdue there, Brendan, and it was wonderful just to get over the gain line. And let's see if we've got some other runners. Unfortunately, the ball's going wide, and we now tackle 15 yards behind the gain line. That's a bit of a shame.
It really took 50 minutes of rugby before we saw one of the BC forwards crash into the line and cause some damage, and that was far, far overdue.
Von Richardson, I think, from Fraser Valley East there, obviously saying Doug Mitchell, David and I'm sick of seeing you guys come all day. I fancy a bit of that. Give me the ball. Let's see what I can do. And unfortunately, off the back of that platform, we went wide straight away, where maybe another couple of phases of direct running, just sucking in that defence, would have been a slightly better strategy there. So, signs, Brendan, that we're learning and that we're coming together a little bit. And again, plenty of time to study the game tape. Lots of time between now and the next camp before the Prairie's game. And I'm hoping that we can emulate what we've experienced in these last 2 games. Good pick up here. Back rower again. This is a replacement. Number 8 gets his hands free support there. Ball drops low, and Jake Erickson, for all his skills, unable to take that pass by his knees. But very athletic, mobile back row by the Impact Academy team here, and I think they've made a lot of changes now, judging by the numbers. I'm seeing a front row of Xavier During there from Kansas, number 20.
Patrick McTiernan, the number 25, playing wing.
And the 21 new scrum half has come on is Noah Wright from Washington. So they've rung the changes, comfortable with the lead. It's a 39-6 lead, getting guys game time, and let's see how good their bench is.
We've seen Sean Nolan, who is dangerous with the boot, come on as well. He's wearing number 23.
Quinn Perry targets the ball there rather than a conventional tackle, stops the offload, drives him back 15 yards, turnover ball, and now Jack Wendling on the front foot, forced the offload there, possibly a knock on. But all that came from a dominant tackle from Quinn Perry, who's a very big number 10, who rather than just going with a conventional legs tackle, targeted the ball, locked it in, and decided to drive his opposite number back 10 or 15 yards, and again give them a platform from which to attack. So great game awareness and game management, and just again, people other than my accent would probably think I'm American the way I'm waxing lyrical about this team, but you've got to give credit where credit's due, Brendan.
Perry kind of reminds me of Cody Roxon in a way, where you have Cody Roxon, the scrum half for BC, also plays for Burnaby Lake, and he's built basically like a center, but he's able to get in there with those scrum half skills. And we saw the transition from Perry, where he was playing in the centers on Wednesday, but he shifted very comfortably into that scrum half position, and he's doing a nice job there.
Clearance doesn't find touch there by Johnny Hedgkins. Another high tackle there by, I believe it may be Corbin, by Noah Bain.
Yes, it is being at played advantage right now.
Zach Bain, should I say, and another strong ball carry. Numbers in quick support. Good shape. Great line by number 7, but it's a dummy line. Tucks in the defence. There's numbers out wide. The pass doesn't go to hand, but stays alive long enough to get the offload free. Guys on the outside, 2-on-1. Should have given that earlier. Can he still score? Playing keep away the Impact Academy here. Having the ability to offload in the tackle by attacking soft shoulders, using footwork, and never getting dominated in the tackle. Good intercept there. I believe that may have been Diego Zuniga who pinched in. And here we go again with the prop Von Richardson, who's having a taste of some go-forward ball. Gets to ground. Could be opportunity for clearance kick here by Johnny Hodgkins. And this time, looks like he may got a favourable bounce, but there's a knock on there, an advantage to the Eagle Impact. Again, rolling down the left side, direct running.
It looked like both teams stopped there expecting the ball to go into touch, and that knock-on was a bit of a half-hearted chase in the end, and it opened up that whole wing side for the Eagles to run into.
Good fend, good tackle by Corbin Bowen, and good support there by the BC fullback Diego Zuniga at cut off that opportunity. But we're going back for an earlier penalty. Do you know what that penalty was for, Brendan?
I missed the penalty well behind the play. I want to come back to something we were saying a couple of minutes ago, though, where BC has this opportunity to compete against American teams, against American academy teams, and for years BC's development was based on playing against the Prairies or playing against Ontario or traveling all the way to Newfoundland. There's some socioeconomic issues with how travel works in Canada. Yes, those are good provinces, good unions to play against, but the travel costs going from one side of Canada to the other are incredibly inhibitive. And if we have that option to play against strong sides out of the United States and for less money, that has to be the future of development in a lot of ways for rugby in BC.
Bang on, Brendan. We're flawed geographically, massive country, and the cost of having to travel to places like Regina or Newfoundland to play, unfortunately, against weaker opposition, it's been a little bit of a smoke and mirrors for us out here out west. We've thought we've been a lot better than what we have, and by recently playing some English schools or overseas schools in this US competition, we're now seeing that there's a whole level of rugby that we're being introduced to that can only benefit us in the long term. And there goes for me, the man of the match, number 7, Jake Erickson. Covered every yard of the field, popping up at the right time. He can catch, he can pass, he can score, he can even kick loose balls and regather. The guy's got it all.
Well, if his parents are looking to build a personal highlight reel of him, they'll just have to use the game tape of this one game, because there's been a variety of different plays from him and lots to choose from. And he's definitely been the man of the match in this one.
Very unselfish player too. I mean, that time he backed himself, he went all the way, but previously he took the ball as far as he can. He waited for his support, delivered a good pass, and he set up a few tries too. So very unselfish player. And again, I believe this is part of the philosophy and the strategy when talking before the game to manager Darryl Nolan. They pick these players on character. They work not just on strength, conditioning, skills, but they work on the overall character, the bigger picture, sports psychology. They know when they arrive at these camps the strengths and weaknesses of all the players, what's actually happening in the top 2 inches, whether a guy is an empathetic player or whether he needs a kick up the backside at training. They know how to handle these players and get the best out of them, and you can see they're very, very unselfish. They play in cohesive units. They play as a team. There isn't one guy who's gone off on a solo individual effort, got isolated. It's been a very, very impressive performance. Good dropout, hopefully not too far. He
Very well
caught
taken.
that 1 foot in, 1 foot out. What's the touch judge, Nia Parsons, going to rule? She's shaking her head. Maybe he was in the air when he caught that before he put his second foot in touch. What do you think there, Brendan?
It was very, very close, but it looked like he definitely stepped on the line from what I could see.
Lucky break there.
But well taken in the air, regardless of where his feet landed.
Absolutely. Corbin Bowen, quite the athlete there. He's been playing on the 7th circuit for quite a while, and I would like to see him get some opportunities before the game's
straight.
done.
Or maybe that's just my opinion.
Again,
Touch
hard
judge
running,
disagreeing.
loose carry there by Jake Erickson. Knock-on advantage. And again, just a little bit flat on lateral. Not many options other than a kick. And some good territory gain there. So not a bad outcome there, but we'd just like to see 2 or 3 forwards flatter to the line, running some good hard lines, or at least offering some dummy options and sucking in that very good, quick US defense.
So we've played about 30 minutes of the second half. We're playing 35-minute halves. So the end is near for this particular match. The Eagle Impact Rugby Academy using those extra 10 minutes of gameplay to outperform their last result, as they got 39 points on the board against BC on Wednesday, 46 on the board now in this effort.
Advantage knock on here for the Impact Academy team. Looking to clear the lines, but may not have been successful. The kick, early ball possibly. Now Corbin gets the opportunity and needs to show some gas. Beats the first man, keeps driving, offers a good target. Now the ball needs to go quickly. Unfortunately, he was a scrum half and the counter-attack ensues, and there's an opportunity gone begging for BC U16. When ball's delivered on a plate as quickly as that, it has to go. I don't care whether you're the 9 or not.
Bit of a miscommunication from BC, as they had no 9 in there. No one was willing to take the ball.
Good recovery though, and good solid defense there from, I think that might be one of the Norman triplets. Number 8 there. Not sure if that's Broden or Dace. I know there's 3 triplets who are very, very large on the BC team. There's another one there, number 12, pack it down on the blind side flank. That's Broden Norman. Liam Gray putting the ball in. Johnny Hodgkins to Felix Butterfield. Jake Scott needs to square up, gets his hands free. Unfortunately, drifting laterally, and it's an easy defense on the strong shoulder. And Numbers get into the breakdown slowly, but the ball comes free, picked up by the Eagles. Again, some good north-south direct running. Ball to the line. Loose ball now. Here's a chance. Maybe a quick counter-attack opportunity picked up there. Probably needs to come a bit quicker to the left. Really the transition area here, Brendan, when you have opportunities against a team as big and strong and clinical as the Impact Academy, when you get a sniff on the transition, the first thing I'd be saying is let's move the ball 2 passes, let's get it into space, and let's see where the gaps are, and let's attack the gaps. It's a little bit one man, and everybody probably is trying to impress still because the team's not picked. You've got to put this in perspective. It still won't be selected until probably Monday, the 24 players who are going to be going to Kelowna to play at the Prairies. So a lot of players still playing for positions, which just changes the dynamic ever so slightly between being a cohesive team and players playing for places.
I think those who will be on the outside looking in will want to go back and look at this game tape and see what went wrong. And it's going to be a matter of finding them standing, looking at the ball, it seems, because the reaction time has been not what it needs to be from BC, and as their coaching staff looks at the game tape, they'll say, this player didn't react, and that small difference they can probably get away with at the club level, or they can get away with at the school level here in BC, but when you stepped up that competition to the degree that it has, those small windows need to be continually opened or closed, depending what side of the ball you're on, very, very quickly, and it's just not happening with enough speed from BC.
Well, a couple of things I'd be looking if I was a selector is great line again by Jake Erickson, and he's through, he's looking, keeps the ball alive, offload. The man has it all, and that's Jack Wendling from chucking it there in close support. He knows when Jake Erickson gets the ball, there's only one way he's going, that's straight up the middle, left and right. Maisie running, keeping alive, hands free. It's a joy to be a centre, knowing you've got back row strike runners who can break the line at will, but just don't pin the rears back. They're looking for support, using a bit of tempo, waiting for that support to arrive. Easy tries. I think, Brendan, you and I could score a couple today off Jake Erickson as being that good.
I don't know if you want to include me in that scoring talk, but it certainly makes the life very easy for the finishers when they're getting the ball with very few obstacles in front of them. And how often does the flanker make a difference in a game? Like
up and side flanker is crucial. Yeah. He's a crucial component of any game. In today's modern game, not only is he crucial at the turnover, jackling and tackling, but as a link man. He to me is a centre in a forward's body. And when you can run and handle and have all the skills of a guy like Jake Erickson, then it's going to be an easy day in the office. And that's the final whistle. An emphatic victory for the Impact Academy there, the Eagle Impact Academy. And the final score, we'll see momentarily, I believe it's 53-6, is that correct?
That's what I have.
53-6. And if I was the BC selectors and coaches, you'd be looking for things today such as work rate and go forward. Who's working hard? Who's working hard off the ball? Who wants to take the ball forward? There's been a lot of static, go backwards, go sideways ball, and you're never going to have a platform off that. So who's willing to make the hard yards, put the hand up, put the body on the line in both attack and defense? And I feel today some guys did and some guys didn't. And looking at the game tape, yes, there's a lot of pressure there, but at the end of the day, when there's nothing on, you've got to put your head down and you've got to go forward. And if you don't go forward in a game of rugby, good things are not going to happen. And we've seen that on enough occasions over the last 2 games to realise what needs to be done. And Danny Wiedner and Chris Haynes have been challenged, so they are of the same mindset. So I think there's going to be some important selection decisions ahead. I don't think for any money that this is going to be the team that's set in stone to go to the Prairies. There were some good performances in the intra-squad game beforehand, and there's going to be some tough selection decisions over the next couple of days.
I think there's going to be a lot of players on BC who will see this as a wasted opportunity. Some players that are on the bubble that didn't really throw their hand up in the air and say, this is what I'm capable of, this is what I can do for your team, you have to pick me. So they've made that decision that much more difficult for the BC coaches. but I'm sure they'll go back and they'll take a look at the tape. They'll see where their team is at. It'll be a wake-up call for a lot of these players to say, this is what we need to do if we want to be the best team in Western Canada. If we want to play for Canada in the future, we need to do the work right now. And there's a big gap between where they want to be and where they are right now, and that was proven through that last couple of fixtures with the Eagle Impact Rugby Academy.
But kudos to the organisers for taking on this kind of opposition. It's too easy to carry on playing soft opposition and pretend that you're doing a lot better than what you are.
Agreed.
And it takes a big man to say, let's take on a team that we know is going to be a tough challenge and potentially could put us to the sword, that the way the Eagle Impact Rugby Academy have done over the last 2 games. And I think you've seen a new benchmark set. I think Canada and the West of Canada and BC in particular will embrace the new opposition. I know for a fact the Americans would love to have more of these cross-border challenges, and I'm excited for the future of North American rugby. And again, it's a benchmark. Let's see in the next 2 or 3 years whether we can close the gap.
BC will also be hosting some incredible North American rugby and countries from the Pacific nations as well. Next Friday at Burnaby's Swangard Stadium. Canada is playing Tonga next Friday, and then on August 3rd they're hosting a triple header with other countries including Samoa, the United States, Fiji is in there as well. So a great opportunity for rugby fans here in the Lower Mainland to see those countries that are maybe a step ahead of where Canada and the U.S. are in their 15s game, and those will be great preparation matches for the World Cup coming up in the fall.
Yeah, lots of exciting times ahead, Brendan.
So that's it for our coverage here from Clahany Park in West Vancouver, BC. I'm Brendan Monroe from BC Rugby. Andy Blackburn, thanks for your wonderful commentary today. And we sign off. Final score, Eagle Impact Rugby Academy 53, BC 6. And thank you for joining us for our broadcast, and we'll see you next time.